One of the things I wanted to ask you was, are you shy when it comes to celebrating yourself?
Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No, I'm not. I used to be, but I think I have people in my life that show me that it's okay to celebrate yourself, like you. Um, people that inspire me help me understand that it's okay. Like when I see a shine in someone and greatness in someone, I'm like, okay, subhanAllah, Allah's showing me that it's okay to shine and there's nothing wrong with it. Um, I think the issue comes with like, do I want to celebrate myself to the point where now I'm doing that instead of losing the picture in the rear view mirror, you know? And I think that always comes with keeping your intention in sight, keeping the target clean. Um, it's hard nowadays because there's so much negativity with celebrating yourself, but there's also like this trend of like influencers being like, oh, okay, we're here for self-care and psychology, and we're here about, things that they might not actually know about. And it's dangerous, but with the right mentors and with the right shuyukh and teachers, I think it's like this shit, like it's easier to navigate. So, and also I think the youth, as you know, like I'm really like that's a soft spot for me is the youth, especially young men. I think when they see that you can celebrate yourself healthily, they get inspired as well, especially this next generation. I think you probably know this because you're very charming, you're very engaged, but like the young and speaking of things, I'm a little older than you, a little bit, but no, I'm not Cha-Cha, but like I am older than you, and I think that this generation is very acute and perceptive when it comes to things like that. So, and also very sensitive because, they've gone through COVID, this, and the other. I didn't grow up through COVID. I didn't go through a pandemic, but I've noticed that like the younger people in the next generation to come are they watch out for each other. They're complimenting each other. They're very, very kind. Like, I don't know that Palestine hoop event. I bumped into someone and I was expecting like kind of like animosity or whatever. And like they were so kind. They were like, oh hey, what's up? I'm sorry. I was like, okay, all right, that's different. I just so no, I'm not ashamed of celebrating myself. I think people need to do it more often. And I think that as long as you keep your intentions in mind and try to constantly deprecate yourself through service work and volunteering. And, if I feel too proud, I'm gonna go like put some slippers in the bathroom on the shelves, like do some like dirty work, get my like, be like, hey, this is borrowed. My life is borrowed. I'm on loan from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Um, all the assets, everything I have, it's borrowed. It's not mine. So just, yeah, that's my answer. What
My
about
life
you?
is borrowed.
My
That's
life
that's
is
quite the
borrowed.
term. I liked how you said that. Um, when you said acute and sensitive to what?
I think emotional intelligence as well as pain. A lot of I think and I taught young Muslims like at Iman Academy, and a lot of my students were empathic, more so than I think what I grew up around. Very in tune, very concerned, able to step outside themselves so easily. And that was beautiful. That was beautiful to see. And I think we can learn from that.
What do you think makes them that way?
Well, like I said, I think growing up through the pandemic, but also, gosh, I don't know, Amir, but like you've noticed that just things are getting worse, right? Maybe it's not things are getting worse. I don't want to be pessimistic, but like shit's shit's scary, like out there, and I think with social media and the advancement of technology, we're just more aware of the negativity, right? And that's what sells. So I think a lot of negativity has made people like, especially that generation, especially like younger people, more absorbent of positivity and more, I guess, like let's watch out for each other kind of thing. What do you think though? I'm curious what your thoughts are. Right back at you.
When you were mentioning that, I was thinking of my little brother, and I remember watching him grow up, and we'd
How old is
have,
he?
he's 16, but like when he was younger, and I remember just when we'd have like a cousin over or something, like he would give them like the VIP treatment. Like, hey, here's your Xbox controller. Here's the popcorn I made for you. Here's your drink with
What?
the straw in it, the Capri Suns. And it was like, hey, you want like a blanket or like you good with the sofa? Like stuff like that. And I remember seeing that. My mom always pointed that out to me. Like, look at him. Like he's so caring for people, you know? And I feel like he's even more caring than I am. And so I notice how you say that. Like the younger generation, the newer generations, they have a bit more of an empath in them. And I think that's so fascinating. I think it's a beautiful
Me
thing.
too.
I don't know where it comes from, but it just reminds me of something about how the root, the soul, is fixed into a person.
Oof.
I think
Is that
before they're
Rumi
born. I think
or is
so.
that Amir?
I I've heard that from someone before. I don't think
Okay.
it's Rumi though.
Not
Yeah.
everything's Rumi.
Yeah, not everything's Rumi. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. So your brother's 16. Okay, mashallah. And you'd say you're not you weren't built like that. You'd say you were a little bit different. I mean, I wasn't always like that too. I think alhamdulillah, like I got like that just by being inspired by seeing it, right? Because I think it's easy to be selfish, but not selfish, but rather just not as attentive. Like that's the VIP treatment, like Capri Sun, popcorn, stuff like that's like us basically. It's like we do that for guests, right? We do that for it's like, but if he's just doing it for the cousins, bro, he's just doing it for the cousins. That's gold,
Or
man.
like even friends, like neighborhood kids come through, stuff like that. Um, but it's funny how you talked about desis, and it reminded me. I wanted to ask you something. Effendi, are you Turkish? Like, what's up with the
I'm
name?
offended. No, I'm just kidding.
That was a good one.
It's an old one. It's an old. So thank you for asking, actually. And I appreciate you bringing me on, by the way. It's a pleasure to be on here, especially with someone so inspiring. I'd say like, okay, so it. I don't know why did I tackle that question like it was my opinion. The fact is, it's not. No, I'm not Turkish. I'm not Turkish, but my last name is Turkish. So I did a paper in college. I went to Dallas Community College, and one of the papers that I did for a history class was I had to do some research on my great grandfather. So my grandfather's father. Yeah. So what would you call that in Urdu?
I
Grand
just Pardada.
father. Yeah. See, and the interesting thing that I've noticed actually, and on Reddit, that there's someone pointed it out. There is a term of endearment for every single member of the family, a separate one, right? In other cultures, they don't have that.
Hmm.
Um, but let me not speak too
That is an
rash.
interesting
Maybe
term though, Pardada, like winged granddad. Yeah.
yeah. See, there's something there. There's something there. I don't know if Arabi. I mean, Arabi, yeah. There is that, but I'm not sure if every single person can be identified as a term of endearment. But anyways, it was something interesting that someone pointed out. And it gets really complicated, right? But so so yeah, my great grandfather, he was a mercenary for the Turks in the Balkan War against the Serbians. So what had happened was they had a bunch of people from Hyderabad, India, that were sent over through what's called the Red Crescent Society. You can look it up now. it's still alive. I think it's like kind of like a version of Red Cross or let's see, like I wouldn't say Salvation Army, but something like that, right? FEMA. So what what they were tasked with was he was a medical surgeon and he would use hypnosis like with the bead for anesthetic. So he would use anesthesia with hypnosis, and I did a paper on him. So what happened was his last name was Mehmet, or and so what happened is they gave him the honorary title of Effendi, which is a prestigious name in Turkish in Ottoman culture, and um and ever since that we adopted that name. So yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, it's got a little bit of a lore to it. Yeah,
It
and a
definitely
lot of
does
people are
have
like,
some lore. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of lit. Like it's a little litty. Like people are like, wait, are you like, do you own Fendi? I was like, no, no, no. I'm a syllable off. Not that. Not that. It's an EF and then Fendi, but Fendi, Gucci, Prada. Yeah, man. Thanks for asking. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that is the story of a Fendi, and there's
That's
other
cool.
Daisies actually that have that name. So I'm wondering,
Yeah.
because
I
yeah,
do know a couple with the name as well. Yeah. And I think it's
really.
also cool how you could substitute like the letters FND and it'd be like Effendi. I think you've done that, right?
Bars.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, bars. Yeah, I can't steal that credit. That's my brother, my older brother. He did that for like the Wi-Fi or something. I'm like, I'm taking that. I'm appropriating that.
Dude,
Um,
he worked on the on Pirates of the Caribbean, one of the films.
one of my brothers did. So I have half brother. I don't like that term, speaking of terms and endearments. But yeah, he's my but yeah. So I mean, I love him to death. But yeah, he actually was a piano prodigy at 8 years old. He went to Boston's Conservatory. He raised his own funds to go there. Um, he's a little boy from Colorado, but like every time I would be in like a class, like they were like, "Oh, you're Zane's brother. Oh my God. I love like da 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 da." They're like, "Oh my God." And then like eventually I started seeing him like tagging Ashton Kutcher like on his like birthdays, and I'm like, okay, that's what I have to be in the shadow of. Like, so yeah. But he worked on Pirates of the Caribbean, A Holiday, Dark Knight. So actually there's a scene in Dark Knight where in the very beginning when Heath Ledger is getting picked up by his goons and one of them breaks the window in I think it's like a bank in Chicago. It's a famous bank. But once that window breaks, there is an acoustic, it's like this instrument that, and my brother was actually credited with that. So once the window breaks and then they throw a zip line, and they, what's that called? A grappling hook, right? So when one of the thugs does that, one of Joker's thugs does that, it starts this like yeah. So my brother did that, and he actually did the music for the Star Wars ride in Orlando, Florida. So and now he's a DJ. He's been to Burning Man, and he's kind of a big deal now. But I mean,
Wow.
not that he wasn't with Hans Zimmer. I love Hans Zimmer. I don't know if you follow OSTs, but I'm a big
Yeah.
nerd. I love his
OSTs
soundtrack.
are big, man. So on Pirates of
Interstellar
the
and
Caribbean, he also has some music on there.
yeah, dude. Yeah,
Dude,
definitely.
Pirates of the Caribbean, like that soundtrack is
Oh, I
top
know.
tier.
Dun, 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 dun,
Top
dun,
tier.
dun, dun, dun. Oh, yes.
So good.
I mean, gosh, man. Yeah. And it's so sad that you mentioned that, Mer. Like, because it comes to an end of an era because of Johnny Depp. I know you've probably been perusing like the news and stuff, so like that's just it breaks my heart because that man,
What happened?
like my with Johnny,
Yeah, what happened
uh,
recently with Johnny?
he just decided to not, I guess,
Continue?
resurrect. Yeah, he's
Oh,
like, what did he say? He said something about like since Hollywood has shown me what they really think of me because they didn't really support him through the Amber Haig stuff. Even
yeah.
though she was like abusive and all that. Um, he's like, since Hollywood has shown me what they really thought of me, I don't really want to give it. And I don't blame him, man. He's an icon. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
Dude, Johnny, I mean, And I respect
Johnny.
that decision if that's truly what he's
Me
decided.
too.
Because I actually thought the fifth one was like a perfect end. I thought it was
Oh my
great the way it
God.
was. I thought it
So
was
good.
fine.
It's so good.
Yeah.
What's else one with the mermaid, right?
No. The fifth one was with the
That's the fourth.
kids, like the kid, like the son of Will
Oh yeah,
Turner
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. Oh my
Elizabeth.
God, that first scene when he's like trying to get him off the boat for what's oh God, what's it called? The
Fine
Flying
Dutchman.
Dutchman.
Yeah.
Dude, feels right? Like so filmy.
Yeah.
But that's like Amir Khan stuff. Like he doesn't go to award shows, so Johnny Depp is just like, all right, I got you. I'm not chasing the clout. That's like Izzet, right? In a way,
Yeah.
it's like dignity. I do like it. It's just kind of sad, but
Speaking of Johnny Depp, there's something he wrote once that really inspired me. And he talked about like having a crawl space in your head. And sometimes we begin projects that mean so much to us, but over time, we just, for whatever reasons, we kind of abandon them. We stop working on them. We don't quite take them to the finish line. And they kind of just stay in that crawl space in our head. But then every once in a while, like maybe some years down the line, they'll come back. I want to say, hey, like this was a nice thing. Let me work on this again. You're an artistic fellow yourself. How do you feel about that? Do you have projects that you began or you had a vision for, but you didn't finish, you didn't take them to the finish line? And how do you deal with having them there and making the decision to bring them back out?
uh, am I gonna answer this before you? Because I feel like I want to get your answer first.
Ah,
I can go, but you're published. Like I'm not even published yet, so
short answer is this for me. I think everything happens at the right time. I mean, even as Muslims, we believe that everything just happens at the right time. So if I'm stressing out on something, it can be a good thing in that it kind of motivates you to get things back on track. But you always have to have that idea in the back of your head in the background. Everything happens at the right time.
agreed. I think all okay. So so I text things to myself, right? And I have like and I've lost things, right? And I've told a friend about this, and she was like, "Well, I think that now you've lost those things for a reason. Allah's, for whatever reason, disconnected you from that, and that was His will. And to make, peace with it and have some solace, now you can start some projects and have like even better content." And I was like, "Ooh, that's dope." So for me, yes, there's a graveyard for a lot of my projects, but I think it's for one reason or the other. Like maybe my intentions were not correct. Maybe like it wouldn't have reflected, well on my profile or something. Um, and now I think and I think you can appreciate this as well. When you're in different places in your life, right? Whether you're healing, whether you're like in grieving and stuff, certain inspirations come from, all sorts of places for like poetry or for stories, for art, whatever. And so sometimes like sometimes it's like an off day and it's just like, oh man, I can't get nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like when you go to the gym or when you go to basketball and you're like, I ain't hitting nothing. That's the same thing with poetry, but when it's hit, it's like Allah wanted you to create this piece and for the right reasons. So everything, like you said, on the same time, I love that mantra, on his time, not my time. And thank you for reminding me that. I think there's a lot of things that like also I think, and maybe you'll appreciate this, but just like another note is I don't believe in mediocrity. And maybe art is subjective, but I think that we do promote mediocrity, especially in the Muslim spaces. And we're relatively new, right? Come on, bro.
No. I hear you.
And I don't mean that in an arrogant way, but perfect or like work on your craft, bro. Don't go up there and spit like cat in the hat stuff to me. You got the mic. Don't disrespect it by like Brown and then town and all around. And then also like this dude was like spitting and he was like his cadence was on point. That's the thing. Like his cadence was amazing. Like he had the crowd, but the content, it was so baby shark. I was like, come on,
Baby
bro.
Shark. I love the language. one thing I wanted to say was
Hit
you
me.
said graveyard for your ideas. I don't have that, which I think is very interesting. I have a crawl space, but I don't have a graveyard. So I thought that was interesting. Second thing I wanted to point out was I've only seen you perform live once ever. And I remember it was great. I mean, it was really good. And
Oh, yeah.
I remember I talked to my sister one time and we were driving back home from school and I was telling her about like artists, like spoken word type artists and stuff. And I was like, it seems like everybody wants to be it. And she agreed. She's like, yeah, it seems like it's a persona that everyone's chasing. And that's something that I think about every once in a while. Like it seems like the artist or the poet is a persona that a lot of people try to chase. And I think it's great that they're striving to be that. But also, like you said, the stuff they deliver is just not it.
I think there's a certain disrespect. Can you hear me? It's raining hard, most of all. But like,
I can hear you. Yeah,
I'm
you're
just wondering,
fine.
you can hear me? Okay. So like,
Isn't it
um,
interesting? We're in the same city and it's raining where you are, and it's like sunlight
you're
out
not
here.
you're not experiencing rain.
No,
You're struggling? Where are you at?
Cyprus.
Cyprus. That is very interesting. Also, I
Yes.
think rain is beautiful. I love rain. Like if there was something that I could be always inspired by, it's rain. But we'll get that's neither here or there. I want to not lose track. I'm full of coffee and C4 and Celsius, all three. Um, so I could talk forever, but let me stay on focus. So I think that like okay, for example, do you ever watch The Voice or America's Got Talent or like do you ever
Yeah.
so like there's people that go up there, right? And they're unassumingly like, oh my God, they're so good, but they're so humble in the beginning. You think they're gonna suck. And then there's people that are so like people that go on like Drewski and like they're clearly terrible, but they have like the confidence or whatever, and they have a lot of confidence, and it's like okay, but it's crap. So I think the former is a lot more powerful than the latter. I think for me, it's so emotional almost to see people that like second guess themselves, and they're just like they're so good. Like they start crying when they see that like people are reacting. Like on America's Got Talent, they start crying or the X Factor. Like they, and I can really relate to that. I think that just like you gotta respect an audience. You gotta respect people are giving you their just like a chutzpah, right? Just like a chutzpah. It's like okay, you're being given an opportunity, a seat at the table with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his member. So you have a responsibility. Don't waste these people's time. They took time off of work and stuff. So in that same sense, I think like when you get on stage, you should respect. You should at least put some hours, put some iron in the gym, and don't just go up there. It's easy to get on stage. It's not easy to have intentional artistry. And do your research, right? Like do your research. Like I there's a saying I think Abu Bakr radiallahu anh said those that don't chase greatness or leadership it comes to them. That's deep, you know? It's like they don't seek leadership, it comes to them. You're not choosing like the person that like is not being like, hey, I want to be this, 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 but rather just like let's Allah carry them and use them as a utensil and like humble yourself, submit, right? Submit to something. And if you're chasing clout, like yeah, you might make it, but people see right through that. People are smarter than we give them credit for. I think people know in like sincerity and disingenuous when they see it.
Yeah. Well, you said reminded me of a quote that's attributed to Napoleon, where
I love Napoleon.
he
Did you see the
says
movie?
it, it was a bad film. He says the world is a terrible critic, and I can see that sometimes. Or There is like this one contestant on the X Factor that I remember very vividly. His name was Champagne, and he had a fantastic voice and he had a fantastic performance. But
I'm gonna look it
they
up.
just they ripped him apart. Like, no, get out of here. I was like, damn, like he was amazing. So yeah, the world can be a terrible critic sometimes. But by
Really?
that same token, I think you're right. Like, there needs to be intentional artistry when you decide to go play in those arenas.
And also in that sense, I think also we should be like forgiving. Like there's people that go up and might not have a good day or whatever, but I think I have a lot of respect for people that come back. Like there, you've seen people, contestants that they might not be good, but like that's different than mediocrity. I think that's different. That's like potential, right? So you have people that just go up there and they might not have like the right, they might not have done their warm ups, or they might not have picked the right song or whatever. And then like 3 or 4 years or 3 or 4 seasons, they come back and it's like they blow like what is that called? Like The Voice, especially, right? They blow it out of the water, and that's along a line with what you're saying that maybe they don't believe in Allah or whatever. Maybe they don't have a higher power that they fall back on, but whatever, like their spirituality, it's like it came on its own time. They didn't rush it, they didn't force it. Um, and I think a lot of true grit and like heroism, right? Things that we like to see in literature and on movies, on the screen stuff that we get attached to, like, is when a character does not give up and shows resilience and gets even better through failure. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
fantastic. Do
How many
you
times have you choked?
have I choked?
Because I've had terrible shows.
I don't think I really perform much, to be honest with you. But the few times I do, I think I try to just have a good time and just be kind of confident and just all right, that's what I'm here to
Do you
do.
memorize all your poems?
I don't.
I don't either. I can't. I don't have. I used to. I used to memorize Robert Frost, like Alama Iqbal. Like I used to have a brain for that, but now my legs start shaking. I get anxiety. I get panic attacks. Something I need
Surprises
to work
me.
on.
Surprises me. Yeah, because I'm more of a pen on paper poetry type of guy. I'm really not a spoken word, but you struck me as a spoken word and a good
Thank
one,
you.
honestly. What the one
Thank
that
you.
you shared that day that I met you? I don't know if you remember it, but how long did it
I
take
do.
you to construct that?
So I was inspired by, I got the idea right through two things. It was a rap song. I think it was, who was it? Maybe it was a song. It was like, She's Like the Wind. And then also, who sings that? Yeah, I
Patrick
can't remember the
Swayze?
artist. No, no, it's a old 80s song. She's like the wind
Isn't that Patrick Swayze?
through the trees. I don't know. I want to say it's like a hip hop.
Like,
Patrick Swayze. Isn't
I
that an
think
actor?
so. He is. I think he sang that song
He
too.
sings in
I
Ghost?
think
Interesting.
that I
Oh
gotta
man, I
look that
love
up, but
Patrick
keep going,
Swayze.
keep going.
Point Break, Ghost.
Oh wait, no, it is
Good.
Patrick Swayze. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was right. Yeah.
Really
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting. So, uh, but I don't think that's the version. There was a hip hop version. Anyways, point, not the point. Um, that and then Buna Muhammad actually did one where it was like prayer was like embodied anthropomorphism, like personified into a person. And so I mixed those two. But this started off with a couple of freestyles on ratedesi.com. I
I
don't
don't
think
even
you
know what
even
that
know about
is.
that. You don't even know what that is.
No.
I'm dating myself right now. Yeah, bro. So do you remember MySpace or were you not born yet? Oh my God. You were like a
No, I,
zygote.
I I was not in that era.
Oh, baby. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm 35. How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
Oh no, let's not do this. Bye. 27.
No, 23.
What? Jordan? Okay, anyways. We're just gonna move right. That's 12. That's 12 years. That's 12. Okay, anyways, we're gonna move right on past that. I'm a late bloomer. I mean, I'm a late bloomer, so I mean, I consider myself like 26, 27 by at heart, which alhamdulillah.
You've
Alhamdulillah for
kept
that.
yourself young, man. Your physique.
I did a lot of drugs, so subhanallah, Allah saved me, bro. I'll tell you that right now. He saved me. For some reason, it wasn't the Neutrogena skin routine. I'll tell you that. Um, I did some things,
Sorry,
but
I don't want to detract you from your thought, but
it's
this is so
okay.
interesting because Steven Tyler, I don't know if you know, but he did so many drugs as well. I think he did like $5 million worth of drugs or something like that, some
From
crazy number.
what band is that?
Aerosmith.
Yeah,
And
yeah, Arrow.
he constantly says like, man, like thank God, like I'm still here, I'm alive. Like this is wild. And he's always so grateful. Does your experience make you feel that gratitude too? Like, man, I'm so fit and I'm alive and this and that.
Thank you. I received that. I'll validate it. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, bro. I've seen some stuff. I've experienced some stuff, because of our community and the stigmatization. Like I used to hide it, but now I wear it on my sleeve like a badge. Alhamdulillah. Um, hoping because I know it's getting worse and for our community. So hoping it inspires others. I try to be a conduit to recovery spaces wherever I go. But so I didn't know that he was in recovery or that he stopped. Like
I
you
think he's
followed his
been
story.
clean, sober for like a while now, a number of years, but
Hell yeah.
yeah.
So for me, it's like, yeah. I almost consider myself humbly a revert because sobriety and AA and like sponsorship, although I don't completely subscribe to it, it's more so Islamic for me now. It helped me find my deen again and be more appreciative of my deen and actually practice my deen. um may Allah always keep me practicing, may Allah keep us all practicing. And so yeah, I feel like it's a rebirth, dude, like Phoenix for sure. Not the Phoenix from Harry Potter, maybe like Phoenix from like more powerful Phoenix. But yeah, like every day is a blessing. I've lost so many people that were younger than me, so many people that like more successful than me, doing and just going through the janazas and stuff like it's just fuel to my fire. Like I am sad and I do mourn, but at the same time, even with and I don't mean to jump topics, but I've been wanting to bring this up with you because I was thinking about what we were going to talk about. Like even with the Imam Marcus Khalifa, Williams, I believe, the one
Marcellus
that
Williams?
was the one that was in Missouri that they just
Yeah.
gave
Yeah.
the death penalty to and the lethal injection. May Allah yarhamu. Like things like that, dude. Today I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to do shit, bro. I didn't want to do shit. I was just like numb. And I was like, no, you know what? The show must go on. Iman has to, Islam has to win, has to prevail. Otherwise, what choice do we have? Then Shaitan wins. So like for me, it's like I'm grateful for every day I wake up. We say, Alhamdulillah, الذي أحياننا بعد ماتنا وإليه النشور. The minor death is sleep. And there is an angel in charge of waking us, resurrecting us from death, the minor death. And that's how we wake up. Like that's like what? Like Islam, it feels like mythology. It feels like sometimes like magic, right? But if inshallah, like Allah puts it in our heart that this is like the reality, this is what, like, forget dragons, forget knights, forget, well, dinosaurs, I guess they're real, but like forget those things that you can't really fathom and be like, okay, this is the reality. SubhanAllah, things like in perspective are just like, okay, this is beautiful. Like Islam is such a gift, and being able to like, I don't, I don't, I don't deserve this. Like, I don't think like what did I do to get Islam? What did I do for Allah to make me Muslim? Or show me Muslim ways, or show me the path towards the Deen again after
Yeah.
being thrown off, after choosing to party, after doing all that. Like, what did I do? But hell, if I ever take it for granted. And that's part of AA and recovery. They always say make a gratitude list. That's the staple part is there's a part of recovery and staying away and making the choice to stay sober. And then also there's volunteering and community. And then in the end, it's also just like there's also a lot of taqwa in their own sense, taqwa in God consciousness, or higher power, or just knowing that things have power over me, like that I don't have power, like I don't like the Serenity Prayer. God, please give me the power to change the things that I can, the wisdom to know the difference between what I can change and what I cannot. And like that in itself, just I try to show people, I don't know, it comes off a lot more ecstatic and hyper and a little too much sometimes. Like I feel like I'm the brown Deadpool, like or like 17 Deadpools in every sense. Like when I watched the movie, I was like, yeah, I need a Wolverine to like level me out. Maybe you kind of look like Hugh Jackman, like you look that handsome, like
I
rugged.
I love how
You
you
trying
said
to be.
this. I'm the brown Deadpool. That was perfect. That's
I
awesome.
am. I really am. Like I have so much. Like I'm not bisexual, but like everything else, like I can resonate with him so much because yeah, I'm very much there, and I am extra, and I am going to be a lot, but in most capacities, like it's useful if I use it, for the right intentions, inshallah.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude, Zubair,
but
I don't want to cut you off, bro, but
it's okay.
we got 2 minutes on the clock, man. I usually ask my guests. You have any closing thoughts? And then you felt like you wanted to say, didn't get a
That's a lot
chance
of
to.
pressure. Oh my
Something on your
God.
mind you wanted to express.
Yeah, there's so many things on my mind. Have you met me? Where have you been for the past half hour? Gosh, what's on my mind is what's next? What's the work that needs to be do? What to be done? What do you think that we can do? What are some projects that I can start working with you on or start brainstorming? What do you think the next generation can benefit from so we can be better for them and they can be better than us and we can be better for the world? What do you think we can do?
I
Obviously
think
there's
it,
artistry, but
yeah.
go ahead.
And I think it's something actually that I like about you in the short time well, I've known you for some time now, but like in the short time that we've had like those interactions, I think people need to celebrate people more selflessly more. And I think you do a really good job of that. I think we need more of that, especially in the Muslim community. Just celebrating others selflessly. That's my thought. We have less than a minute on the clock now.
Fine. We're always trying to beat time. We're never gonna win. Um,
Quotable.
yeah, yeah. No. How are you, bro? How are things with you? How's
Good
school?
man. Alhamdulillah. I'm out. But this has
We'll
been a
talk
good
later.
time, bro. This has been a good time.
This is
Thanks for being
this is
here. I
better than
appreciate it.
anything I could have anticipated. Alhamdulillah.
I suppose until next time, eh? Inshallah.
All right, brother.